What y'all think about the best receiver in the division?
ever-
What y'all
Oh,
think
Slam
about
Boy?
the best?
Oh, yeah, Slam Boy. I mean, he's not really even back yet, is he?
Winston on first and goal to the end zone. Touchdown, Michael Thomas.
He done lost a couple steps, bro. I didn't watch him in the
I'm gonna
practice.
see it.
Winston, soft touch. It's Thomas.
He done lost a couple steps, bro. I didn't watch him in the
I'm gonna see
practice.
it.
On second down, Winston fires. It is caught. Thomas again.
Slam Boy? Oh, yeah, Slam Boy. I mean, he's not really even back yet, is he?
Winston throws, end zone, touchdown. It's Thomas again.
He done lost a couple steps, bro. He done lost a couple steps, bro. He done lost a couple steps, bro. I didn't watch him in the
I'm gonna see
practice.
it.
Oh, y'all thought it was over? Oh, y'all thought it was over. They thought it was over. No. No, we have plenty. We got plenty of receipts, okay? What's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And the clip that you just seen was from CB in a Who Dat Nation chat line. He has some members of the NFC South, respected fans of those teams on his show. And of course, that clip was circling around social media, and I took it upon myself to actually do my little thing that I do. Okay, look. We're going to continue to do this, okay? All right, because the individuals that were saying all these things, they were so confident. They were saying it with their entire chest. So I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for putting that information out there, because if you're confident enough to feel the way that you do, should be confident enough for me to be able to show the entire world what you had to say. All right. I mean, at the time, you probably thought that it was actually going to come to fruition. Some people actually thought that Michael Thomas was washed. Okay. And that's one of the main reasons I keep telling people, please, pretty please, stop watching mainstream sports media shows. Okay. It will cloud your judgment, because you only are watching those shows to continue to be empowered by your feelings and your views, and you're not looking at the big picture. Michael Thomas came into the game, had 5 catches, 57 yards, and 2 touchdowns. All right. Some people were saying, oh, they're Michael Thomas. You know, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed by Michael Thomas. Those are the type of people that just are afraid to be wrong. You're just afraid to be wrong. You're afraid, because if Michael Thomas would have continued that game and didn't have a catch, then all of a sudden, like, you would have talked about, oh, he's sorry. And all of a sudden he has 2 touchdowns. And now you have to minimize that, okay? It comes a time, even if you're a fan of another team that plays the team that wins, you have to pay homage to the man. You got to give credit where credit is due. But so many people get so puckered up and so emotional, okay? Get Carl Thomas on us. Get emotional. And instead of just saying, you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong on this one. I was wrong. Instead of them doing that, they double down. And it makes you look even worse, okay? People have been hitting me up from other teams, groups, talking about, oh, what about waiting until next time? Well, y'all was telling me this time was next time. So what is it, right? Quit moving the goalposts. Quit moving it. And then we will be able to move forward, okay? But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about is Alvin Kamara. Some of you probably already heard, and if you have not, I hope you're sitting down, because Alvin Kamara seems to be injured. Alvin Kamara is dealing with a rib injury. According to head coach Dennis Allen, he said that he has a rib injury, and It's not, it's not anything serious. All right. Now, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. The fact that Alvin Kamara has an injury, but it's not anything serious. But you have to ask yourself, if it's not as serious, then why did the Saints today sign former New Orleans Saints running back Latavius Murray? Why did they bring Latavius Murray back to the fold on the practice squad if Alvin Kamara is not injured seriously? And I've seen this movie before, and you have to excuse me for feeling the way that I do, because a couple weeks ago, Paulson Adebo was dealing with an ankle injury, and the media met with him in the locker room, and they said, "We heard that you're dealing with an ankle injury," and he said with a smile, "I'll be okay." And everybody was like, "Oh, well, good. Paulson Adebo is going to be okay," and I'm pretty sure that he is. But Tuesday went by last week. He didn't practice. Wednesday went by. He didn't practice. Thursday, he was on the injured list, and he said that he was out. So he smiled and said that he was okay, even though he is, but he didn't play in the game versus the Atlanta Falcons. Okay? So I would be remiss if I didn't mention that, and I wouldn't be honest if I was to say that I really feel like Alvin Kamara is dealing with something more serious than they're trying to lead us on to believe. Okay, you're not going to be signing a guy like Latavius Murray if a guy like Alvin Kamara isn't seriously injured, or he might be dealing with an injury, that might leave him out of the game. Now, Latavius Murray is a familiar face. He's a familiar guy. We like Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray wasn't the fact that Latavius was terrible. All right, last year, he had a little bit of a contractual issue. He didn't want to take a pay cut, and the Saints decided to let him go. He signs with the Baltimore Ravens. He was just supposed to kind of be a filler guy, but he ended up playing quite a bit because J.K. Dobbins, their running back, ended up being injured for the entire year, and they had the backup running back. He ended up going down, and it ended up being the guys that were with the Saints in preseason running the football, Devontae Freeman and Latavius Murray, being the running backs for the Baltimore Ravens. And he did a really good job. And I like Latavius Murray. He's not the guy that's going to wow you or knock your socks off. He's not the guy that's going to do so much like Alvin Kamara does. But what he does is he continues to move the chains. Okay, you can guarantee if you give the ball to Latavius, you get about 2 or 3 yards, because the guy's about 6'1" or 6'2". Him leaning forward, he's getting about a yard or two. He's a big guy. He's about 225, 230. He's 32 years old, but he doesn't play like it. He's one of those guys that have been in the league for a long time, but he has never been the feature back in anywhere that he was. For a short period of time, he was the feature back in Oakland. All right, he had that magical year where he ended up going to the Pro Bowl and got himself paid in Minnesota. And then, of course, he played in Minnesota, but he still wasn't the guy because they drafted Dalvin Cook. And even though Dalvin Cook was there, he was injured. So Latavius Murray did a formidable job. I can remember Latavius Murray making some waves in that divisional game back in 2017 when the Saints played the Minnesota Vikings, all right, the Minneapolis Miracle game. I can remember him being the first person to score. I think he had 2 touchdowns in that game. The Saints end up signing Latavius Murray after they couldn't reach Mark Ingram, right? Mark Ingram's agent, according to sources, told him not to answer the phone. So the Saints took that as if maybe he's trying to move on, and they signed Latavius Murray, right? They signed Latavius Murray, and he did a formidable job. Alvin Kamara goes down for a few games. He comes in. He averaged about 150 yards from scrimmage, kind of something similar to what Alvin was doing at the time, and he really improved as a pass catcher. Before he came to the New Orleans Saints, he didn't even have a receiving touchdown. So along with Drew Brees, he kind of helped them out with that. And not to mention, I think the last time he played with the Saints, when the Saints played the Chicago Bears in the playoff game, I think we all can remember Drew Brees under the rest in the pocket. He lofts the ball up to Latavius Murray. He walks in for a touchdown. So Latavius Murray being around the team is a good thing, in my opinion. It's a guy that they're familiar with. And if nothing is wrong with Alvin Kamara to a point where he's actually missing games, you have to give respect to the New Orleans Saints because they're trying to do something a little bit different. They're trying to go out here and get guys that can add depth to positions that are falling. Okay. Unfortunately, it had to cost the Saints to cut Dejon Dixon, right? The guy that's promising, the Louisiana native, the guy that played pretty well in preseason. He was on the practice squad. The Saints had to let him go in order to put Latavius Murray on the practice squad. So it's early in the week. The Saints, they had an off day today. The players had an off day. So they're going to start ramping up, and we'll see. We'll see if Alvin Kamara is going to be available for practice. And we're also going to see, how this is going to affect the game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm extremely confident if something is to happen to Alvin Kamara, that the Saints still would have a really respectable running attack. If you add a guy like Latavius Murray, let's just say if you dress him, if Alvin Kamara can't go, I'm pretty sure they're going to have Mark Ingram as the featured running back. Mark Ingram is a guy that is capable. I know people try to bring up his age, but Mark Ingram is a talented running back still. I know he had that fumble, but I'm not going to negate the fact that he averaged 5.5 yards a carry on very few carries. Okay, so him coming into the game, he did add a little bit of a little bit of change of pace. And I don't think that if, let's just say, for example, if Alvin misses this game, that Mark can't come in and make some noise. And I definitely believe like a guy like Latavius would actually come in and make noise. Now, if you don't add Latavius Murray, if you don't have him dressed and he doesn't play, it would be interesting to see if Kirk Merritt, if he would be in this game. Like, we know that he played wide receiver, right? He was playing pretty well, but the Saints decided to switch him from wide receiver to running back. Maybe put him in that Ty Montgomery type role. So maybe the New Orleans Saints, to make up for Alvin Kamara in the passing game, maybe they'll try to add Kirk Merritt to that running back room to add the passing dynamic, to give Jameis Winston somebody they can pass the ball to. And we know that Kirk Merritt, if he gets the ball in his hands, he's extremely elusive. We've seen him on a kick and punt return. So I think that, that's the same thing that kind of helps guys like Cordell Patterson, right? His ability as a kick returner. He's elusive and be able to move and, be able to get separation and, and do all these different things. Because of that, he's a pretty good running back. So maybe the Saints may add Kirk Merritt if they feel like Latavius Murray isn't where they feel like he needs to be. I expect for Latavius to be pretty much further ahead than any other guy. Like if they was to sign a guy like Marlon Mack, who got signed by the 49ers today, it probably would be a little bit of a learning curve because he's not familiar with the Saints offense. But you bring a guy in that's been here and that's done that, so it's kind of easier for him to just kind of get acclimated to what the Saints are doing. But let's just see, as time goes on throughout the week, we'll see the status of Alvin Kamara. Once again, Dennis Allen saying that it's not that serious, but once again, we heard the same thing when it came to Paulson Adebo, and the guy who had probably the best camp among the secondary wasn't available for that game versus the Atlanta Falcons, and he was greatly missed. We seen that Bradley Roby was picked on quite a bit. So we definitely need a guy like Alvin Kamara to continue to do the things that he does that makes him so special, and also make defenses stand up a little bit late at night to try to figure out how to stop number 41. But if he's not there, then I think the Saints should have a potent running attack to get themselves past a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or be formidable throughout the game. But thank you all so much for being here. Shouts out to the 179 people that's here right now. I ask that all 179 of you hit the like button. If you enjoy the State of Saints podcast and all this content, hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscription button. We're on a mission for 10,000 subscribers, and we're almost there. We're almost there, man. So I need your help. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. So I'm going to go ahead and read some of your comments, and we'll just go from there. Let's start with, we'll start with Shadow Band. Thank you very much for $2. Said Jameis was Clark Kent after that boot, after the boot, Super J-Bo. Yeah. I mean, it definitely was a transition once he went into the tent. All right. I'm thinking about somebody need to make a shirt, bring him to the tent, because once he came out of that tent, it was like an out of body experience. I don't know. Like you said, he went into the boot, he went into the tent, and he came out a different man. So, but thank you very much for your donation. Steven says early in the season, still we need AK for them playoffs. Yeah, Steven. If he is injured to a point where you feel like maybe sitting him down for a week or two, you do that. You know, I understand that the Saints are trying to separate themselves, and these are very important games. The Saints off the bat had an important game. This game coming up versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is extremely important because these are your two division rivals, right? Atlanta, you got the win over them last week, and Tampa got the win over the Cowboys. So right now, you two are 1-0, and the person in the team that is going to win this game is going to be atop of the division. And if the Saints win this game, that is that's two divisional foes they have a 2-game lead on. So that is pretty doggone good, especially since you're going to be going into like the meat of your schedule where it's going to get a little bit tougher, right? It's going to get a little bit tougher. You're going to have to buckle down, and there's going to be some teams that you're not too familiar with, right? With Tampa, you're familiar with their scheme. You're familiar with Tom Brady. You played him on 5 different occasions since he became a member of the Buccaneers, right? You got the Carolina Panthers that's coming up. So here's the thing. You got to be able to win these games. If the Saints can, knock off Atlanta like they did last week, Tampa, and they knock off Carolina, then you're looking at like a real strong chance of making a postseason. There's a really strong chance that you can end up, having a little bit of a cushion, right? Because right off the bat, you're playing four NFC teams. So let's just say, for example, if you can win 3 out of those 4, you're in really good shape. And especially if those 3 wins are for 3 different divisional foes. So they got to definitely, they got an opportunity to really separate themselves early in this division. I honestly think it may just be a depth piece since Washington is out as well. They need to proceed with caution and not overwork AK early in the season. Well, here's the thing, Hart. It's not so much like last year. I feel like they overworked them a little bit last year because they wanted Tony Jones Jr. to be that backup guy. Tony Jones Jr. played so well in the preseason last season that they thought that Latavius Murray was expendable, right? Because of how well Tony Jones was playing. And Tony Jones goes into week 1 and ends up getting injured. And that stinks, right? It stinks, that you that you end up getting injured, and the guy that you brought in to be the backup that you thought would be formidable ends up getting hurt. So that puts a lot of pressure on Alvin Kamara. It puts a lot of pressure on him to be able to go out there and put forward a Herculean effort. Not to mention there wasn't much at the wide receiver position, a bunch of unproven guys, guys that were doing their best, but even at their best, they're not close to some of the best in the National Football League. So that was a lot of pressure on him. This season, he doesn't have that, right? He can kind of focus on being a running back, and catching the ball out of the backfield occasionally to be, a matchup nightmare, but it's not so much on his shoulders. It's not as if the New Orleans Saints can't function. They can't find ways to get the ball into the hands of playmakers. I've seen a play where they actually had a wide receiver screen. It didn't go very far. It should have. It was the wide receiver screen to Deontay Hardy. I thought that was a really good drawn up play. It just, the blocking wasn't good, on the outside. They had 2 blockers that could have took out one guy. I feel like he should at least, at best, got a first down, even if the safety would have tackled him. You had 2 guys that were covering, a cornerback, that could easily block him. It should have been Deontay Hardy going down the field for a first down, then pan out. But we know in years past that Deontay Hardy, when the Saints have drawn up plays in order to get him involved against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it's been tough for them to be able to go after that type of guy. When it comes to playing, the wide receiver position, sometimes, I think that the the size of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers cornerbacks are pretty good to a point where they feel like they can kind of go toe-to-toe with larger receivers, and those shifty guys give them a little bit of trouble. So it's not like you can't have like a screen pass, because Mark Ingram is pretty good at that. It's not like you can't draw up a wide receiver screen for Hardy, because he's pretty good at running those. So there's opportunities for the Saints to be able to do some things, throwing the ball and guys catching the ball out of the backfield if Alvin Kamara has to miss some games. Hoodie Jube in the panel said hello. Jerry, thank you, man. Tell him I said hello as well, man. Thank him for that. Appreciate it. I think it's more serious also. Can't be just ribs like they say. Well, I probably think that it is ribs, but we have to look at this. Ribs are serious, man. We look at Drew Brees, right? Drew Brees had 11 ribs. He was out for about 5 or 6 games. So here's the thing. Like, just because, they're saying it, they're not giving you specifics, still can be something serious. I mean, when you're dealing with ribs, I mean, that can be anything. It can be bruised, which I doubt. It could be something, maybe one is cracked, but I've seen guys play with cracked ribs, right? We heard about guys in years past. Tony Romo, you remember he had the Kevlar vest out on, for the game. You remember Donovan McNabb, he was playing with some broken rib. You had Michael Vick back in the day playing with broken ribs. So guys have done that. I guess is you have to have a high pain tolerance, but you don't want to sacrifice, the production and the possibility of him being hurt again in a game so early, right? You would want him to be out there. He would definitely be, important, and he definitely would play a role if the Saints are going to win, but you don't want to sacrifice him trying to win a game so early in the season. You're going to need him down the stretch, especially if you're trying to make a run at the playoffs. I think somebody mentioned that. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Thank y'all so much. Says, just line up Taysom at running back, no trickery, wildcat stuff out him in a running back, and line him up in the I formation. Yeah, I mean, there's different ways you can do that. I mean, the Saints have a lot of weapons, and they have a lot of guys that they can actually, do some things with and get these guys to contribute, so it's a really, it's a really good problem to have, that you have so many guys that are so uberly talented. Just got back from Vegas, and Who Dat Nation was out Sunday. Yeah, Saints Nola, I hope you had a good time. I actually was in Vegas last week. I was in Vegas last week, man. I had a real good time out there. Let's see. I'm actually excited about seeing Latavius back in the black and gold. Yeah, me too. It wasn't like to a point where people were talking about, man, we need to get this bum up out of here. He really left on good terms, and it was to a point where, I felt like he was just kind of salvaging himself, because I think he's seen the writing on the wall. I know people were looking at like, oh, what was wrong with Latavius because he was kind of stagnant in preseason, right? But I think that he felt that the Saints were probably looking to move him, and I think that he wanted to preserve himself in case he had to hit the open market. And as you can see, it worked out for him, because he ended up going with the Baltimore Ravens and being extremely productive there. So sometimes these guys, it may seem like one way, but it may be another. I think that may be in the case. So sometimes these guys have to look after themselves, and, especially if they feel maybe the team is going to do what's in their best interest. So I guess they say, why not me? We can only get better at this point. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Neil. I don't think the Saints are going to play many games as bad as they did in those first 3 quarters. What you've seen was a team that was rusty, barely had any type of chemistry, and guys that probably weren't working out together, having some real game experience together. And I think they just kind of figured it out in the 4th quarter, because it was a lot of no huddle. It was a lot of just go out there, run this route right here. Let's just go ahead and get the ball down the field. And not to mention, it was Jameis trusting those receivers to make plays. A lot of those passes, it was more of those wide receivers and what they did more so than the throws. Jameis Winston was putting the ball where, those guys can get it, like Jarvis Landry with that crucial catch with about 40 some odd seconds left on the clock. That was Jarvis right there. Jameis just put it in an area and allowed Jarvis to make a play. So it was a lot of, okay, let's go out there, let's just play some park ball. But I think as time goes on, you're going to see those guys develop, and you're going to see those guys being on the same page. And once that happens, man, it's going to be pretty tough for teams to be able to zero in on what the Saints are doing. So hopefully that can happen in the future. But it's good to have this win. It's good for them to have this on film to see where they are and see the things that they need to work on to improve. So happy to see Tyra Smith in the chat. We're blessed. Yeah, Tyra, it's been a while. I ain't seen Tyra in a minute. I mean, I seen her like on Facebook earlier. Shouts out to her. Well, I'm glad she's back. Shouts out to her being here. How's AK ribs? Not sure. They're not really specifying what's going on. They just said it was a rib injury. So we know that the Saints don't like to disclose injuries. I guess that's Dennis Allen following the playbook of Sean Payton. And honestly, I don't blame him, because when they were talking about Michael Thomas hamstring injury, everybody damn near had a heart attack. Oh my God, what's going on here? When he said he had a hamstring injury, oh my God. So I don't blame him. You know what I'm saying? People like, man, what's going on? What's happening? Now we see why these coaches and these organizations don't disclose injuries, because some of y'all be like Red Fox, like Fred Sanford having a big one, going to see Elizabeth. Like, calm down. We don't know the severity of the injury. And honestly, I'm glad that we don't. Because if Dennis Allen would have came out there and said, Alvin have a rib injury, and by rib injury, I mean that it's bruised. Or by rib injury, I feel like, one of his ribs cracked. People will be like, man, it's over. It's over. Oh my God, it's over. We done. Like, so I can do without that. So for that, Dennis Allen, I appreciate him not coming out here spilling the beans. But we'll be right back from this after this message from Manscaped. This is TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And the State of the Saints podcast is brought to you by Manscaped.com. For those that enjoyed the Lawnmower 3.0, well, I got news for you. The Manscaped engineering team has successfully created the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the Lawnmower 4.0. The leader in male grooming is taking it to the next level. Join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped for all their below-the-waist needs. Go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code State of Saints, and you will save 20% off on the Lawnmower 4.0 as well as other Manscaped items. That's manscaped.com. This is the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints, and we are back. So we're going to get back to the chat. We're going to go to Pastor. Pastor says, much love, TJ. Have you ever thought about asking Stephen A on your show, even if he acts like a clown sometimes? Nope. Get in Tom's face early and often. And Pastor, I mean no disrespect by that, but no, I have no interest in that. I have no interest in talking to Stephen A. Smith. I think that Stephen A. Smith is an extremely talented individual at what he does. He's extremely entertaining, and And I think he understands sports. I think that he has a long vocabulary, but I also just think that he's a walking, talking parody. I don't trust him as a sports media guy. I don't. I think that he's all in for himself. I think he loves what he does, but people that are willing to step on people, to discredit people, to basically shove people to the side because they may get favored, versus how am I going to put this? Guys end up being more likable than he is, like with Max Kellerman, right? When Max Kellerman was on the show, and Max Kellerman was getting more love from the audience than he did, so he decided to go to the big bosses and get him tossed off first take so he can basically have control. And I didn't like that, so I really have no interest in talking to Stephen A. Smith. I don't. I don't feel bad because I have no interest in my lifetime working for ESPN. I don't, I have no interest in working in Bristol at all. Okay. And if I did, then I mean, who cares? You know, like I like genuine real people. Like I like people where I watch them and I can just feel the passion come off come off the screen. Like I like because they're so real. I just feel like with him it's like the same old shit. Like, he says, the same catchphrases. Cowboys lose, he come out there with that cigar and that 10-gallon hat. It's like it's nothing but like hijinks and ridiculousness. Like where's the substance in that? Where's the substance? And then, and most times I feel like he just be faking it to make it. Look, I do broadcasting. I ain't got the longest vocabulary or anything like that. But one thing I can see is when somebody's trying to fake it to make it. I know when somebody knows what they're talking about and when they just start throwing people's name out there, right? If some breaking news came out about the NFL, you can tell like he really is not that prepared. I don't think he really knows that much about it. But yet, it seems like he always has something to say about certain guys. And a lot of his talking points are really just about things that people constantly say about guys over and over again. It's no research. It's nothing that you digging, you digging in a crates to find. It's just a bunch of main topics that people have been talking about. Like you talk about Josh Allen. Oh, Josh Allen, big old 6'5" guy, big arm. Like honestly, everybody knows that. But do you know that he's improving his completion percentage every single year he's been in the league? Little stuff like that. So I have no interest in talking to him. I mean, I know that's a little a long statement, but I just don't. I have no interest in talking to him at all. Were you nervous, TJ, being down in Atlanta at the stadium watching the New Orleans Saints play and people booing you, saying nasty things to you? Nobody was saying nasty things to me. Nobody was saying nasty things to me. And I have to say, man, that was one of the greatest experiences I ever had going to a football game. Seriously, man. I mean, look, the Atlanta Falcon fans that I've seen, they love their team. They love them. Like, and it was respect. They was respectable. Like they wanted the Saints to lose, of course. And as a Saints fan, I wanted them to lose. But it was a great environment, and everybody respected everybody. At the end of the game, I was dapping up Atlanta Falcon fans. I was dapping them off and, saying, man, thank you, man, helping me make this experience good, man. Y'all made this game fun. Like, wasn't like that. I know that sometimes we watch these television shows and we see guys fighting because, those are the things that people seem to gravitate to, right? The negativity of the world. But there are very few stories out there where you've seen fans of different teams getting along at stadiums and because that's not the news that people want to see. People want to see somebody getting knocked out, slapped up, blood all over their face or something. I don't know why as a society we just gravitate to negative things or things that are almost considered like, a car wreck. Like we just can't turn our heads, right? But when something positive is going on, we just shy away from that. But I had a great experience. I didn't have any issues with that. And I didn't see anything else. I mean, I know they had a video of somebody fighting, but I think it was at a restaurant. And that probably was one of those cases where somebody had too much to drink. I thought I saw my little brother say something slick a few comments ago. Looks like little brother needs yet another lesson to humility come Sunday. I don't know what we talking about here. Who we talking about? I don't even know. Who we talking about? I'm not sure. TJ, I think the fourth quarter gave us a glimpse of what can happen if Jameis has time to cook. O-line has to step it up. Great win. 38 heart attacks, but great win. Yeah, that was rough right there. Definitely, the heart was jumping right there. Definitely was jumping right there, but I'm glad that they got the win. But King Arthur, it was more so of the no huddle, man. It was just a no huddle. They were able to keep the Atlanta Falcons from subbing. But you can't do that all the time, right? You can't be Chip Kelly, right? You can't do what Chip Kelly does with that no huddle stuff. You got to be able to execute and be able to huddle up. So these offensive linemen have got to be able to protect Jameis Winston. Look, I get it. Jameis Winston has some of them late game heroics, but look, I would prefer for games to be easier, right? I know every game is not going to be easy and you're going to have those knockout, drag out games, but let's not make it harder on yourself than what it has to be, right? If you execute the way that you need to, And let's just say a guy breaks up a pass or, you know what I'm saying, a guy still gets through. I mean, fine, it happens, right? Because it's our best versus your best. And sometimes their best is going to get the best of us. But if we're executing to perfection more times than not, then you'll find yourself being in more successful situations and you don't have to rely on late game heroics to come through and hoping that you winning in the end. All right. So I don't know. Who that, TJ? Do you know if Malcolm Brown is still available? Because we need to bring him back to show up the middle of the defensive line. Man, let's not jump to conclusions. Let's not jump to conclusions here, okay? I understand that the defensive line had a little bit of issues with the Falcons' offensive line. I mean, I get all that. But we also have to take into account that was not a conventional quarterback that the Saints played. It's hard for a guy to try to get pressure on an individual that is a quarterback that can run and scramble around in the pocket. It's not like he's standing still. I will say this, okay? First off, getting Malcolm Brown back would be huge. He's still out there. So if you were to get him, that would be a great pickup. Even Ndamukong Suh, he's still out there. You know, who knows? But I would wait for this game versus Tom Brady. This game versus Tom Brady, to me, will show how bad a shape or if we need to be concerned at all about this defensive line. Because you have yourself a quarterback who is not going anywhere. He is going to try to stand in the pocket and to deliver the ball, you know, where it needs to be. You basically have a stationary target versus Marcus Mariota. If he doesn't see anything open, he running, right? So you find yourself running, you know, trying to chase after him. So let's wait and see where this defensive line is versus a guy that is going to stand in the pocket more times than not. Now, and you're not going to see many quarterbacks throughout the season like a Marcus Mariota. So let's just wait and pump the brakes and see where we are as a team going forward before we start talking about we need to get this guy and that guy. All right. But I mean, if they were to get Malcolm Brown, I think that would be a really great pickup. But I don't want to say they're in desperate need of him right now because Marcus Mariota is a running quarterback and it's kind of hard to chase after those guys and get multiple sacks. I'm so glad he's not holding anything in his heart to come back, L. Murray. No, look, you got to be professional in the NFL, right? Because it's a business. Like, we understand that, you know, we have love for these guys and we do understand that teams need to do right by these guys, but teams are going to do right by teams. And if they feel like they can save some money by adding a guy that probably would give them more or equal to the production that you give, and they can get them for the cheap, they're probably going to go with that guy. I mean, it's just a tough business. But I think he's a pro, and it's proven by the fact that he's willing to come back and do that. So that's the way it goes. He was a goon at FSU. Absolutely. Stroll down a little bit. We got you in the chat, TJ. Just keep talking. Well, I appreciate that. I'm not sure where I don't know what we're talking about here, but Prophet Phantom, thank you very much for 499 says, I can't wait to watch Brady and the offense set fire on y'all live in the dumpster dome. I'll be in section 137 watching my Bucks dominate all game long. Thank you for the 499. I don't think you believe that yourself. I don't. I don't think you believe that yourself. When have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady dominated the New Orleans Saints ever? When have they ever dominated the New Orleans Saints since Tom Brady been there? Y'all can talk about that playoff game, but still, that wasn't even domination. Tom Brady had 199 yards in that game. And the Saints, they had about 3 turnovers. So it wasn't like y'all were just straight up dominating or something like that. Or Tom Brady was just out there picking the Saints apart. So to think that you're going to dominate, I mean, I don't know. I think some of you, and look, with all due respect, I think some of you speak with so much emotion. And I think, to be honest with you, I think there's a level of jealousy going on. Like, I think that Saints fans, we have so much pride. We got so much dignity Like, no matter what the situation is with the New Orleans Saints, whether it's win, lose, or draw, like, we still talking noise. And I think teams can't fathom that, right? So what they do is they try to come up in here and try to destroy, our morale. But what they don't understand is they can't do it, right? They're so used to, like, if their team losing, going hide out, getting mad at the team, saying all kinds of different things, like they used to that, right? Or their fandom being conditional, right? Oh, my team ain't been winning no games, so I ain't coming out there, right? Yeah, I ain't coming until they actually do something. But us, doesn't matter if the team is on 7, 1-8, whatever. Right? We still gonna love this team and we still gonna back them. So I think people just feel like by saying those type of things, they feel like that's just gonna like kill our confidence in the team. Like, but this love that we have for the New Orleans Saints is deeper than just wins and losses. And some of these teams, I just feel like their love, their fans' love is conditional. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't unconditional, like how we are at times. Because I didn't see this energy when Tampa was losing. I didn't see people taking up for this team. I didn't start seeing people take up for this team, really. And I didn't really see as many Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans until they actually got Tom Brady and they started to win. And that's when you start to see people start to, come in. And I understand, the business. It takes some people time to get on board, right? It takes them time to get on board. They want to see if a team is going to do something, but some people are coming in like they've been loyalists, and some of these people are looking very unfamiliar when it comes to like these teams out here. I'm just being real. Alfred, thank you very much for the 199. Says, at what point do you feel like, yeah, we got this? I never feel that way. I never feel that way, to be honest. Look, I love the New Orleans Saints, as y'all know. If you've been following me for quite some time, we got 277 people. I ask that you hit the like button if you have not already. But I love this team, but I look at this objectively, right? I don't care what this team has. I don't care who they got. I don't care who they add. I need to see this thing happen in real time. I need to see this thing happen in real time, and I need to see it happen consistently. And I also think that schemes matter, teams matter, and I think that you have to be objective about this. You can't just be mad or I don't like the Atlanta Falcons, so we're gonna run roughshod all over y'all. We're gonna slap y'all in the face, we're gonna hit y'all in the mouth. Y'all ain't nothing, right? Because that kind of take is kind of personal, right? If you doing that, I just feel like, man, just pull your microphone cord up out the wall and go do something else with your life. Because eventually you're going to find yourself having to be a parody. And I don't like parodies. I don't like that. You have to find yourself kind of, being that fan that no matter what happened, I don't like that kind of stuff. Okay. But I never feel like the team have this. I don't. I just feel like it's week to week. We seen the Saints have really good teams be cooking, and then they end up losing to a team like the Giants. Like, a little bit, TJ. TJ, how would you feel about them stacking the box and running an extra lineman on some snaps to help with giving Jameis extra time this weekend? I wouldn't be mad at it, but like I say, man, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to really just sit up here and just say that the Saints have offensive line issues, because I know that maybe you have. I don't want to take away from anybody, but if you look around the National Football League this past weekend, the offensive line and the defensive line play with trash everywhere. Like, everybody offensive line and everybody defensive line was pretty much, kind of struggling a little bit. To be honest with you, mostly the offensive lines. Go look at some of them games. Like, take your pick. It was a lot of teams that were struggling on the offensive line. So, and not to mention, it's week 1. You have the way that preseason is played. You got 3 games. You got guys that haven't played in preseason. Guys that ain't touch a football. in a real-time situation, these guys got to develop timing. These guys got to get adjusted, their bodies. So there are so many different things that are going on. I don't want to jump to conclusions. And Hart, that's a good point that you're making. I don't want to take it away from him because I guess you like, well, I've seen this movie before. Let's try to nip this in the bud right now. I understand it, but I don't want to jump to conclusions either because sometimes it's like Hart. Like, think about this. All right, let's say we playing basketball together, my friend, and I'm new to the playground, right? I ain't never seen you. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden you come out here, you get out your car, everybody knows you, right? Because you may be like the guy that's like Steph Curry out there in that thing, right? You know what I'm saying? Everybody, oh man, that's Hart, man. Hey, Hart, come over here, bro. We got you. And you going up against me. And then all of a sudden, they pass you the ball, you shooting a three, boing, you miss. Shoot, boing, you miss. Shoot, boing, you miss. You're like, man, I'm gonna think to myself, like, man, dang, man, what's going on here? Like, man, they told me this dude was Steph Curry, Klay Thompson type guy. You know what I'm saying? Out here, and you probably just having a bad day. You just ain't making no shots. But if probably the next day, if I ain't out there or something like that, or maybe I come back out there and then I probably make the mistake like, oh man, this dude wasn't making no shots yesterday. I'm gonna give you some space. And all of a sudden you start cooking, right? I mean, that's the way I'm looking at this. Let's give it some time, right? Let's give it some time and let's see where we are. Like I said, if we have defensive line issues versus a stationary target, then I start being concerned. If we have concerns about the offensive line, like next week, you know what I'm saying, to a point where I don't see like improvements, then I'll be a little bit concerned. But I don't want to just jump to conclusions based on week one. And I've seen this around the landscape of the National Football League offensive line issues coming from, a lot of teams. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to see where I am, and then I'll adjust accordingly. I need to see this thing at least twice. And if it seems like it's just painstakingly obvious, okay, let's try to do something with it. I hope that that example made sense, my friend. But let's move on. Says Sean Payton said all O-lines this week were bad. Yeah, what I'm saying? I agree with that. Like if you go around the landscape of the National Football League, it was terrible. Like I had opportunity to watch a few games today as I was doing some things at the radio station. And I was looking at these highlights. I'm like, man, God dog, man, it's like this, like boy, like they running through wet tissue or something. Like it was really bad. It was really bad offensive line play of the few games that I've seen. So I think that it had a lot to do with the fact that it was week one. And it's hard for me to like jump to these conclusions because the Saints offensive line had a bad game. Let's see where we're at in week two. And like I said, I will be really concerned if the Saints aren't getting pressure on Tom Brady, especially since you have the left tackle Smith from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has been dealing with an injury. And it's almost like, he has to have a high threshold of pain in order for him to play. You had Jensen, who was end up getting injured. You had Tristan Wirfs end up dealing with some issues injury wise. I mean, they have some injuries on this offensive line. So if you're not getting pressure on Tom Brady in any way, or I don't see you like coming at him in different ways, then I'm gonna be concerned. Like if they are not getting any pressure and they're allowing Tom Brady to stand strong in that pocket and kind of just go through his progressions once, twice, three times the progression, like, I'm gonna be concerned. This is the game that I feel like if you feel like something's wrong with the defensive line, you're gonna see it in this game. Saints were trying to contain him and not let him run around. Exactly. You got to. When you have a running quarterback, you got to be able to protect the barriers, the outside. And I just think that guys coming up the middle, I think it was tough, man, because if he see them, he's going to run off. And it's hard, Anybody, like maybe in maybe another quarterback, the Saints probably would have had some sacks. but Marcus Mariota is extremely elusive. He runs around a lot, and I think that's the hardest quarterback to get down on the ground. I hate when our fans are overconfident. We lose about 90% of the time when we're out here talking crazy. Yeah, look, man, I don't like talking crazy. Like, I'm not gonna sit up here, man. We gonna beat y'all. We gonna slap y'all around. Like, come on, man. Like, we gotta look at this thing objectively. These guys get paid a lot of money on the other side, just as much as those Saints players do, and they got a lot of pride. Now, you got some teams out there that are slow, and they're gonna be slow, right? But for the most part, when you're playing a division game and everybody knows everybody and they know where the bodies are buried, they know who the weak links are, it's hard for me to just sit up here and say, oh, we're going to annihilate y'all. You know, if I'm saying that from a place of passion, not a place of logic. With all the rah-rah stuff Penning was doing in training camp, I was always looking forward to week 2 to see him do that to JPP. Well, look, I mean, Trevor Penning, Saints got some positive news about him. He's probably going to be back sooner rather than later. And I think the running game will definitely pick up once he gets back. It's unfortunate because the injury that he had, he can't practice, right, until it heals. And he can't get back out there. So all the things that he was learning and the development that he had, from game to game, kind of gotta, kind of stay right there until he actually gets back healthy enough in order for him to go out there and train. So when he does come back, I think that he's definitely going to add to the offensive line, and I think the Saints running game is going to be something to look at. And to be honest with you, if the Saints are cooking, and let's just say, for example, the Saints end up finding themselves in the playoffs, where you're going into the playoffs, teams kind of buckle down, right? They kind of buckle down and they really are paying attention to details. And you find yourself watching teams that don't conventionally run the ball consistently like that. They end up running the football. And to have a guy like Trevor Penning who's really good at run blocking, that will give the Saints an opportunity to add a different dynamic when they have to go out there, possibly play one of those teams like the Rams, like the 49ers, teams that have big physical defensive fronts. And you're going to need some of those maulers to be able to step up in those moments in order for you to get those extra yards to sustain those drives, because you can find yourself being in those games late, those 13-10 games, those 6-14 games, games like that. And you're going to need a running back, and you're going to need those guys that are capable enough to be able to block so you can go on those long drives. So having him back late might be a really good thing for the New Orleans Saints, especially as the Saints get closer towards the end of the season. Hopefully they're in playoff contention. And if they are, and Trevor Penning gets the opportunity to play in the postseason, that would be a great advantage for the New Orleans Saints, having an offensive lineman like that that can, be out there and be physical with some of those great defensive linemen. D. Granger, exactly. The Bucs O-line may be injured, but we are still facing Tom Brady. Look, man, I got a lot of respect for Tom Brady. I mean, you have to be a fool not to have respect for Tom Brady. You can roll your eyes and talk about how you feel about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans or whatever, jumping on the bandwagon when he rolled up. But look, this dude is capable of dissecting. He's capable of dissecting some of the best defenses. It's not a defense that he hasn't seen, and it's not a matchup that he can't exploit. So the New Orleans Saints are going to have to step up. And if we, as a fan base, continue to talk about, oh, we 4-0 in the regular season versus Tom Brady, look, it really does not matter, right? It's a brand new season. This team won a division last year, and the Saints, they're trying to beat them, right? And they have a different team. The Saints have a different team, and I'm pretty sure, them losing 4 straight games in the regular season to the New Orleans Saints, that's added motivation to actually knock off this team inside of the Superdome, especially since the fact that New Orleans Saints have been so dominant versus them in their stadium. So I think that they're going to be up to the challenge. And as much as we want the Saints to win, and as much as we probably scoff at the fact that Tom Brady is out there, and the Saints got to bring their A game if they want to win. Cowboy fans did that last year. Yeah. Look, man, Cowboys, they're going through some stuff. I mean, Dak Prescott going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. In my honest opinion, I feel like they might need to want to call up San Francisco and inquire about Jimmy Garoppolo, but what do I know? Hey, TJ, did you run into Big Low Country at the game in Atlanta? No, I didn't. I didn't run into him. Did not run into him. When you're playing CB and wearing 21, you got a ball out every game. Roby has to do better. I mean, it's not the fact that he did bad, Jerry. It's just the fact that, you know, some guys are elite, some guys are almost elite, and then you got those guys that are average. And that's what Bradley Roby is. He's an average cornerback, right? He's not a guy that's going to shut down half the field. But it's not like they don't have a place for a guy like Bradley Roby. I think that sometimes, like, we look at guys like, you know, like Marshawn Lattimore, you know, like a Jalen Ramsey, even though, you know, he had a bad outing versus Buffalo. He's still one of the best corners in the league. Guys like Trey White, right? Guys like Denzel Ward. We look at those guys and, you know, the coach goes to those guys and say, okay, we need you to shut their best player down for the rest of the game. Like, you look at Marshawn Lattimore, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts together, they accumulated 1 catch for 6 yards. It's very rare that you're going to have a cornerback that's going to be able to be capable of doing that. And I think sometimes what we do is, if a guy isn't a Lattimore, if he's not a Ramsey, if he's not a Trey White, then we feel like, oh, you know, he's not good enough. But those guys have a spot, right? They're going to get beat sometimes, of course, right? But there's still a spot for him. And I don't think that he's just to a point where, you know, he's just roasted and toasted and all that kind of stuff as people may make it out to be. I just think that there's levels to this. Like Cam said, there's levels, right? You know, there's levels to it. You got top tier. You got the guys that are almost there, right? And then you got those guys in the middle, but there's still a spot for them, right? You know, it's kind of like elite quarterbacks, right? We compare a guy like Aaron Rodgers to a guy like Kirk Cousins, right? I mean, even though Kirk Cousins beat Aaron Rodgers last week, but when we talk about the football pecking order, people put Aaron Rodgers up here. They put Kirk Cousins down here, right? They'll put a Patrick Mahomes up here, and they'll probably put, I don't know, let me get somebody give me another name, a Carson Wentz like in the middle. You know, like, so it doesn't mean that Carson Wentz doesn't have a place in the National Football League. It doesn't mean that Kirk Cousins doesn't have a place in the National Football League, right? Those guys still deserve to start in the National Football League. They just don't possess the same level of arm talent and ability as those other quarterbacks, but they still can win football games. You can still win football games, and he's still serviceable. If the Saints were to trade or release Bradley Roby today, he would find himself on another team being a starting cornerback. I'm just being serious. I just think that we have to understand that there's levels to this. Everybody is not going to be Lattimore. Everybody's not going to be Ramsey. Everybody's not going to be Trey White. But there's still a place for you. I'm going to stroll down a little bit, folks. I'm going to go to Jamie. Jamie says, miss CD and hype and pulling penalties from opposing teams. Eugene says, what up, TJ? Marlon says, I think they wait until later in the season to unleash Olave. Well, here's the thing, Marlon. And I mentioned this on a few shows back. I said that if Chris Olave was coming into the situation like last year, he would be forced to go out there and perform and be that X, right? And I think that as fans, we would put all of this type of pressure on Olave to be able to go out there and put up 120, 180 yards like a Justin Jefferson did on Sunday. But now, if you look at it, we want Olave to be something, and we expect for him to be something, but we're not going out the window saying, man, you need to do this right now, because he has Michael Thomas and he has Jarvis Landry. So, and he can kind of go at a slow pace and be able to develop into the receiver that he needs to be. And you don't have the pressure of having to be that number one X guy right out the gate. I think that Chris Olave is talented. I think if he was to ask to be that guy, like if he was to get drafted to a team that desperately needed a wide receiver as a number one wide receiver, I think that he would flourish. I think that he would be in contention for Rookie of the Year. I think that he would have some of those top numbers. Heck, I think that he probably would have went over 100 yards this past weekend. Let's just say if he went to the Giants, right? If he got drafted by the Giants or he got drafted by the Packers, I feel like he probably would have went over 100 yards. But when you have a guy like Landry, when you got a guy like Michael Thomas, you don't have to rely on your young guy to go out there and just, basically turn chicken salad, chicken-ish into chicken salad. You don't have to do that. So he can actually grow and develop at his own pace. And I think when he does, like around week 8 or week 9, you'll see those guys, you'll see him start to develop and coming into his own. And also, as he slowly starts to develop, we know that injuries occur, right? Guys may, I'm knocking on wood when I say this, but guys miss games. And if Chris Olave needs to slide in from that 3rd position to that number 2 position, he's capable of doing that. And if a guy like Michael Thomas is being double covered, then he can go out there and exploit his one-on-one matchup and make plays. But I like the fact that Chris Olave can go at his own pace and he can be that wide receiver that we need him to be down the line, and we don't need him to be Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase right away. So I think that it's going to pay dividends down the line. I think that, as time goes on, as the game starts to slow down, as he gets more NFL games under his belt, you're probably going to see, like you said, him be able to make more plays. I expect for him to have better numbers this week versus last week, because I just think that the Saints are really going to be relying on him to win his matchup, because now you have film on Landry and his capabilities as a Saint, Michael Thomas, and seeing where he at as a Saint. So that opens up an opportunity for Chris Olave to go out there and take advantage of his matchup and possibly be able to win his matchup and be able to get some yards and have a very impressive day. So that's the way I look at it. I lost access to the Facebook page for a while, but I'm always on the YouTube page. My comments just never get read. But I have access to Facebook page again now. I always post pregame videos. Okay, Tyra. Well, I appreciate you for being here. And you, like you say, you probably are here, but I don't know if your YouTube page or something like that has a picture or not. I guess it does because I'm looking at it right now. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I guess I pretty much just miss it. I seen Adebo and Warner on St. Charles yesterday night. When is Adebo coming back? Well, I'm not sure. We'll find out tomorrow because they practice. So maybe he'll be a part of practice. We'll see the extent of his practice, if it's a light practice, a full practice. So, and if you're wondering why I'm drinking a lot of water, it's because I got this ring light right in front of me and it's bright and it get a little hot up in here. You know what I'm saying? Get a little hot. You think Kamara going to play? We'll see. But I definitely don't think that if it's something like a cracked rib or something like that, you should have him going out there this early. You should want to preserve him and protect him, for later on in the season. Jerry Lewis, because of the crazy narrative from the media, they really didn't believe Jameis could come back and win. They just think he's goofy, get 30 for 30, but they learned the hard way. Look, I still don't think that they are done. I guarantee you this, and I'm knocking on wood when I say this too, but if Jameis Winston was to throw turn the ball over, throw an interception this week, I guarantee you're going to have a bunch of media outlets showing that interception. I mean, I think somebody said this yesterday. This is absolutely true. They go to great lengths to try to discredit this dude, and I don't feel bad about saying this at all. It was like this dude, he was throwing a pass at an indoor football league or something like that, and he ended up throwing a ball, and Tyreek Hill intercepted the ball and ran the ball all the way back. Now these guys are just out here doing something for charity. He throws the ball, and Tyreek Hill just catches it and runs the opposite way with it. But they took it upon themselves to actually put that out there, because I guess the narrative is he turned the ball over. So I guess they're saying, he turns the ball over even if he's not playing a real NFL game. Like I said, the narrative continues. The narrative continues to make this guy look ridiculous and make this guy look like a walking, talking comedy act. And I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like that. I think people, they pay more attention to trying to make this man look like a buffoon than actually giving this guy credit for being a pretty good quarterback and also being able to kind of, resurrect his career. Like what people aren't talking about is the guy has 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's 6-2 as a Saints starting quarterback and a quarterback rating of 106. That's what they're not telling you. That's what they don't want to discuss. And that's not what they're saying, but they want to continue to talk about 30 for 30, 30 for 30. But this guy's slowly changing the narrative. But it just seems like to me, they don't want to. They don't want him to. They just want to keep him in that position. I guess those positions that they, that they want people to have for the Patrick Mahomes of the world and Aaron Rodgers and some of these other young quarterbacks like Josh Allen's. They don't want this guy at the table. TJ, can you do a round table with a Tampa Bay Buccaneers podcaster this week? Yeah, man, I'm supposed to be doing a podcast tomorrow with my guy DJ Hopkins. I'm not sure which platform we're going to be on. Probably going to end up being on his podcast, I'm sure. Or he might end up coming over here. We'll discuss that on tomorrow. But yeah, we'll have somebody on here. What do you think about the Baltimore Ravens leaking Lamar Jackson contract offer if it's time for him to hire an agent? Well, that's really up to him, Jules. It's really up to him about what he wants. I know that he allows his family to manage him, but it's about knowing your worth. I guess he felt like he expected more, being a former league MVP, winning a lot of games, leading his team to the playoffs, having a playoff win. I think he just thinks that he deserves more, and he does. So who am I to say that what they put out there he should have signed? Who am I to say that? I mean, it's up to him and what he feel like he's worth. But I don't know. I don't think it's time for him to hire him an agent. I think it comes down to him knowing his worth, and he feel like he needs more money. So who am I to say that he should just sign a contract? Trail, we can't afford Sue. He wants $9 million. We have $2 million. Well, if Sue wants $9 million, he probably gonna end up staying out there on the street because there's nowhere in the world somebody paying a 35-year-old defensive tackle $9 million. Okay, not happening. TJ, could that be a reason we didn't generate much pressure? The fact that the line was just playing not to get beat by Mariota feet didn't really work. But do you think that was it? I think it has something to do with it. I think that when you're trying to cover the RPO game, it can kind of affect the way that the way that you try to attack a quarterback. And I think that there was some times that probably could have ended up being a sack if the quarterback wasn't Marcus Mariota. I think that has something to do with it. But there were times where the Saints defensive line did get stonewalled, and that's something that you don't need. But like I said, I will judge this defensive line honestly based on this game, week 2 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because you have one game under your belt and you're going up against a quarterback that's a stationary target. So you should be able to get pressure, at least a few. Now, I'm not saying you got to get home, all right? But you need to be in the backfield and get him off his spot at least a few times, all right? And if they can't do that, then we can probably just start talking about the concerns that we have about that. But passing defense is going to look better with a Debo back in the lineup. I agree. Paulson and Debo would definitely add to this secondary and to the defense. There is such a thing as the law of averages. I'm just saying. Faith-based workplace says, hello, everyone. What's going on? Actually, everybody hit the like button if you're just joining us. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. As long as it ain't the Drew Brees of family pack rib. Yeah, if it's that, then yeah, I'll be concerned, really concerned. But it don't seem like it's that's the case. I think we reach out and get Malcolm Brown back for that run defense rotation. Wouldn't be mad at it. Wouldn't be mad. Definitely would add to it. Justin Jefferson was destroying the Packers. Aaron Rodgers has no wide receivers to throw to, dropping wide open passes. Vikings whooped them. Well, look, Aaron Rodgers has nobody to blame but himself. He had Devontae Adams, and Devontae Adams ended up signing with the Vegas Raiders because Aaron Rodgers around that thing, oh, I might hold Jeopardy. Oh, I might go climb a mountain. Oh, I might take some Percocets. I might not even want to come back. And then all of a sudden, like he kind of just, just did all that in order for him to get a new contract. I mean, so he has absolutely nobody to blame but himself, right? The reason why they can't go out here and get you some help or pay a guy like Devontae is because you want to go out here and make, $35, $40 million. So they gotta find some room to pay you somehow. So you got to be able to make that sacrifice. And you're Aaron freaking Rodgers. So whatever they put out there, you should be able to make better, right? So I mean, I don't feel bad for him. I don't feel bad for Aaron Rodgers. That's just the name of the game, right? If you want to go out there, you want to make top dollar. I mean, they gotta take away from one position in order to pay you. So, man, he ain't got no help. I'm just saying. Keen Arthur. I think Kamara just had bruised ribs. Well, we'll see. And if Rodgers keep trashing his receivers, it's not going to get better. Look, I've seen this movie before, folks. I mean, we know last year, and we should know better. We beat them 38-3, and those guys still was the number one seed, even though they lost in the divisional round. They still had the number one seed and the best record in NFC. So we can't just judge based on one game. We can't do that, right? Because they do this every single year. They get blew out first game of the season, right? Y'all remember the whole famous line, relax, right? Spelling out relax. Right? That's what he said. I want to say back in 2019, they end up going 13-3. Then he, in 2020, when he said it relaxed in 2020, then 2021, they end up getting beat to sleep by the Saints, and then all of a sudden they still the number one seed. So I mean, come on, man. This is a team that starts off slow, but they always seems to kind of find their way, and they end up, finding their way into the playoffs. So I'm not going to look at this game and just say, oh man, they're in trouble, because they, for the last couple of years, they got beat to sleep throughout every year in week one, and they always end up being there in the end, being the top team, being the number 2 team. I'm a Bucs fan. What I see is, if we can't match the physical play style you guys play, we don't stand a chance. We preaching to be more physical this year, so that makes it judgment week 4 for me. Look, I just think that when you have defensive coaches, right, Todd Bowles and Dennis Allen, these guys like to be physical because their job for years has been to bring the physicality, and every coach wants the players to mimic their personality. So what you have is 2 coaches that are trying to instill a level of physicality to their offense as well as their defense, because that's all they know. So I don't think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers aren't going to be physical. Todd Bowles is a really good defensive coordinator. He for the Jets, even though the Jets struggled, they had a pretty credible defense. I mean, Demario Davis was a part of that defense, and I don't think Demario Davis would be who he is today, or be at what he was if it wasn't for Todd Bowles. People have to take that into account. I mean, he played for the Jets under Todd Bowles, so I think Todd Bowles had a lot to do with his development. So, I mean, and also with Dennis Allen, I just think that these are 2 coaches that want to be physical. So I think that you're going to see some physicality from both teams. Strolling down a little bit. How long Kamara is going to be out? Well, we don't know how long he's going to be out, or if he's going to be out at all. The Saints did sign Latavius Murray. I think that has a lot to do with depth purposes. So you'll find out. I mean, the Saints practice tomorrow, and you put the injury report out, and we'll see who practiced, who didn't. And then we'll probably go from there. So if he doesn't practice Wednesday, he doesn't practice Thursday, more than likely he probably won't be playing. That's just the way it goes. We could win it all in the Super Bowl. Goodell Madness for our team lives forever. Well, who cares? Okay, this is the same guy who suspended Tom Brady for the Deflategate, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year after he served a 2 or 4 game suspension. So Goodell still had to go up there and give the Patriots their trophy after they suspended Tom Brady. So whatever animosity, or if he has any animosity towards the New Orleans Saints, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So that is what it is. That's just haters on Jameis Winston. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of haters out there that just despise this, that just don't like this dude, or just try to discredit this dude every chance that they get. That's just the way I feel about it. Your grandmother wants to know how long is Kamara going to be out. I'm not sure if he's going to be out at all. We'll see during, if he practice. TJ, please play the Falcons podcast audio one more time. I don't think I have that footage on there anymore. I think I took it off. But if you want to see it, feel free to go to the State of the Saints Facebook page, right? Facebook.com, search State of the Saints. And also, you can follow me on Twitter at TJAY-Jones8. I got it up there, so I don't have it on here anymore. Salute TJ and the chat. Let's see. The pass rush will be better this week. I hope so. Can't be any worse than what it was. I'm going to take a few more comments, and then we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. TJ, could that be a reason we didn't generate much pressure? I think I read this already. King Arthur. And if I did, man, I said that I think it has a lot to do with the fact that Mariota was moving around in the pocket. It's hard for defensive ends to try to go after a guy, that knows he's capable of running. I mean, who knows? Some of those plays might end up being sacks. I would literally pay a pay-per-view premium price to get one game of Jameis mic'd up. Yeah, that would be interesting to hear, right? Got 283 in the chat. 28-3. I'm just saying. Yeah, man. I mean, look, we got 26-10. We got 26-10 in the chat too. Yeah, that was funny. I was laughing today. I'm gonna try to see if I can pull this up to show you all. I found like extremely hilarious because one of the people that just commented a few minutes ago, they were talking about the video that about Atlanta Falcons fan who was basically just talking about how the Saints are done and how the Saints aren't as good we think that they are, this, that, and the third, and I posted it on Twitter, and it got quite a bit of traction. And it got to a point where this happened. This was very funny. As you can see, you can follow me once again on Twitter at TJJones8. And it's about a 2-minute video that I put together. And some people ask, like, who put that video together? Yes, it was me. On top of being a very good podcaster and a very good broadcaster. I'm pretty good at editing as well, so as y'all can see. But anyway, as you can see, how many views did this video get? If you look at the views count, I said this tweet was the gift that was kept on giving. All right, so as you can see, it had 28.3 thousand views. So I had to keep that. I had to keep that 28.3 thousand views. Okay, 28,300 views. Even though I think as of right now it's probably past that, but I noticed that, so I was like, I got to take a snapshot of that. So it definitely was a gift, the gift that kept on giving. Right. So, and thank you to everybody that viewed that video, retweeted it, all that kind of stuff there. It definitely was funny. As y'all can see, once again, we keep the receipts on the State of the Saints podcast. I hate to pull a race card, but some people don't want to see a black quarterback to overshadow Drew Brees. Well, look, that may be the case in some circles, but if you're a Saints fan and you love this team, shouldn't matter if the guy is black, white, whatever. You know what I'm saying? He can be blue like Skeeter Valentine, all I care. If the guy can go out there and deliver the ball where it needs to be, he's my quarterback, and I'm going to support the heck out of him. A quarterback doesn't have to come he doesn't have to be a white quarterback. Heck, you don't even have to be a black quarterback. I just want a guy to go out there and perform. But if you are an individual that feels that way, I just feel like you need to step on into 2022 and realize that no matter what color you are, what nationality you are, what creed or what walk of life you from, you have capabilities, okay? And we shouldn't judge people based on that. And if people are still doing that, they suckers. Vikings are definitely top 10. Not sure about top 5. Need to see more games. Well, I can't put them in a top 5 just yet because once again, this is week 1, and you know this could be an anomaly. This can be a culmination. So let me get a few more games under. Let them get a few more games under their belt before we start, calling them top 5, top this, top that. Even the Saints. I mean, it was a great comfort behind victory, but man, you got to put these things together. Let's see where we at. Atlanta fans talk all that smack and suck that bad at the end collapse. Well, they said the more things change, the more they stay the same. That's why, once again, there's this old saying, you got to keep your words soft and sweet because you never know when you got to eat them. You should never just have takes based on emotions. I'm talking to all podcasters out there. If you're a podcaster, you want to be real and you want to be genuine to your folks, but you also want to eliminate any type of sensitivity that you may have, right? Doing podcasts, to me, is about passion. It's about energy. It's about all those things, but it's also about being logical. And I just think that sometimes, man, that's why sometimes I gotta read the room. I gotta research like the shows that I go on. Sometimes I don't do that. Sometimes I get opportunity to go on shows, but it's times where you go on podcasts, and I'm not saying about the podcast I was on, but there are times where I just feel like it's more about how I feel about you versus, okay, this is what my team is going to do. There's been very few podcasts that I've been on that you have individuals like that. Not all were like that. And I only put up the clip. Okay. So we probably went about an hour and some change. But even after he said that, I was like, man, I think that you're speaking from emotion and you're not speaking logical. I even said this. And I don't know if he just said it just because he felt that way, or he just felt like, his team was just so much better and improved so much that he just felt like they were just going to steamroll the Saints, and the Saints weren't going to have no answer for what they were trying to do. I don't know. But I just think that you have to be able to do your research, and you should never just be so full with emotion that you can't see what the other teams are doing. Like, I took it upon myself. Like, when I knew I was going on that podcast, I took it upon myself to watch some Atlanta Falcons games. And I seen it. And I was able to give them credit. And from what I seen in preseason and what I seen as far as their offensive innovation and defense, I was like, okay, they doing a little something. And then week 1, it showed that, okay, they were up for it. But, you can't, like, I'm not going to just sit up here and be like, the Saints going to slap them around. Oh, the Saints, they won 4 straight games versus Atlanta Falcons in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, so y'all going to lose. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you why I feel like, you're going to lose. Y'all know, if I feel like the Saints are going to lose, I'm going to tell you. Some people probably get mad. I don't know about that, TJ. I don't know about that. And I might be wrong. But who cares? I just go by what I feel and what I looked at and what I evaluated. So, I think that's the recipe for success. Don't ever feel like you have to be a walking, talking contradiction or a parody of yourself in order for you to be a successful podcaster. I know that they got some people out there that's working for them, but you have just as many people out here that's giving it to you straight, and they have success as well. So you have to decide what lane you want to be in. TJ, we do numbers over here. Your videos and my Eli we got hits. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we definitely get hits. I think even the video that I shared about Bart Scott, that had got over 100,000 views. I don't, what I'm saying? I don't be like, okay, man, I'm gonna go viral this time. I don't even think about it. I just feel motivated to actually do some editing or something like that, I just do it and I'll just post it, because I find it funny, or I just try to give people something that gives them like some level of entertainment. But I mean, I like doing it. I like doing it. I remember at one time I couldn't edit worth anything. Like, if you watch like my earlier episodes, like if you have a chance, you're bored one day, just like stroll back to the beginning of the State of the Saints podcast when we were actually just doing slides, and you actually see what I'm talking about. You'll hear the audio quality, you'll see the video quality. And I gotta say thanks to my station manager, Mr. Greg Kentz, who helped me out a lot about, learning computers and learning editing and stuff like that. So by doing stuff for the radio station and posting stuff on social media, kind of helped me to develop as an editor. So, and I enjoy doing it. It's fun. Tyra says that 28-3 keeps popping up, doesn't it? It just never goes away, does it? Yeah. I mean, if you Google 28-3 right now, it's gonna say 28-3 Falcons. It's funny. I was arguing with someone about that call on Lattimore. I told the guy, if you go back and see the Falcon receiver push, what do you think? Well, Brandon Edwards did do that. Shouts out to Brandon Edwards, though. That was a short time where I was actually working overnight at a hospital, like a while back. And his dad is the security guard there. His dad is the security guard at the hospital. And it was during the time when he was actually playing for the Raiders at the time. And his dad was a really cool guy. And his dad watches the show from time to time. So shouts out to Mr. Edwards. But yeah, I mean, he definitely pushed them first. But y'all know those saying, they never see the first person that initiated, always see the person that retaliates. So that was just one of those cases. The fake second line into the stadium is what did them in. Then we showed them how it's supposed to be done. They still rise up from the Cleveland Cavaliers anyway. Copycats, they always have been. Well, I must say, the stadium was not sold out. I will say that, but the fans that were there, they brought the energy. I'm not going to take that away from them. They were really excited and very optimistic about this team, especially when the team started cooking and they were up 26-10. But that's the reason why. That's the reason why, that's what made that win so much better, right? Because they were so emotional, and you would think that they would have learned their freaking lesson after everything that they've been through. You should know that no lead is safe. None. You should know this. I'm gonna tell you when I knew. When the Saints got the ball back. Now keep in mind, okay, it was 3rd and 1. They, Marcus Mariota fumbles. Of course, they take, it brings up 4th down. They take the delay of game penalty, pushes back 5 yards, so you punt that 4th and 6. When they punt it back to the Saints, Atlanta Falcon fans start to leave, even though they were still up 26-24. They were leaving. So it's like you chill way too prematurely, you know what I'm saying? And then you leave prematurely. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, honestly, you had some Saints fans. After the personal foul penalty. I want to say, I don't know. I don't know if it was on Lattimore or who it was, but it was like a personal foul penalty, and the Falcons ended up getting 15 yards. And you start seeing some of them Saints fans leave. Man, where y'all going? The game ain't over yet. And then when the Falcons, when the Saints scored, when Will Lutz kicked the field goal, you see more Falcon fans. I'm like, why are y'all leaving? Y'all have about 19 seconds left on the clock, and y'all got 3 timeouts. The game ain't over yet. What are you doing? So I don't know, man. I don't want to take it away from them. You had a lot of Falcon fans out there. They was passionate, and they wanted to win that game. I'm not going to take that away from them, but it was pretty empty in there. I'm not going to lie. I think shouts out to Ross Jackson. Ross was there because he was in a press box, and he took a picture with about 10 minutes left in the first quarter. And, you seen some empty seats up in there. Section 100 was empty. It was empty, about a 50-yard line. It was empty. Right? It was almost to a point if you was looking and okay, man, it's halftime, man. Let me go down and hit a section 100. You know what I'm saying? Let me get right here. Let me be on a 50. You know what I'm saying? You could have done that. That was raw, but you grew. Yeah, if we're talking about some of that editing, yeah, I definitely grew as an editor. But I mean, Yeah, once again, Mr. Greg Kidd, shouts out to the station manager, man. He's about to retire next month. He's been a general manager at WLGI for about as long as I've been alive. I think around 34 years. And he's decided to retire. And this guy taught me a lot, and I'm forever grateful for that. So that's one thing that he definitely did teach me, like some of the things that I've learned as far as like editing and stuff like that. So TJ, if someone starts their premise on any sentence, what I feel like, I instantly question their well, look, but sometimes, those are just safe words. It's almost like when I say or you know what I'm saying? Like when I get stuck on something, it's kind of like that. So I'm not going to take that because I say that quite a bit too. I feel like I say that quite a bit, but I'm very confident about what I'm saying. I don't know. I guess that's just jargon. And it has, some people, everybody got those safe words. Everybody got those words that they go to when they get kind of stuck, So maybe that's it. I'm not going to take that as a way they don't know what they're talking about because I say that a lot. And hey, but sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about. So I guess you're right. Look at all those games they lost. And they had these as Super Bowl, the Dallas game in 2020, the Lions game in 2014, the Buck game in 2020, Bears in 2021, Dolphins in 2017. Just name a few. Yeah. Had to take a breath, all them choke jobs. Faith base. Too blessed to complain. Amen. A lot of games they choked away, to say the least. I just want to know. I just want to know one thing. Who won that game this past Sunday between the Saints and the Falcons?
Not Atlanta. Nope.
Who? I'm not sure. Who won that game?
Not Atlanta. Nope.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure. All right. And Damien. What up, TJ? Been listening while in the gym. But you is right. Because when I saw 19 seconds and 3 timeouts for Atlanta, I said that it wasn't over yet. Look what happened with Lattimore with that penalty, but we won. Yeah. That's the thing. Like how many times we seen that? 10 seconds left. I mean, heartbreaking, right? The Minneapolis Miracle. So I am not content until I see all zeros on the clock. I need to see all zeros. I need to see them all. I need to see the confetti pop up out that thing. If you're at home, I just need the scoreboard to go blank. That's what I need to see. I am not content until the clock hit all zeros. Just like I don't feel like the Saints out of it until it hit all zeros. They used to it. Yeah, they definitely used to it. TJ, your new name is Petty LaBelle. Well, look, I don't feel like I'm being petty. I don't, because I'm not forcing these individuals to say the things that they're saying. Right? I'm just putting them out there. I'm just putting them out there. I mean, I big up them. I give their Twitter handles, I give their YouTube channels, I give their names, right? So I'm just trying to give these folks the credibility that they deserve, because at the time they really felt the way that they did very strongly. At least I think they did, right? So I don't think I'm being petty. I think that I'm giving these individuals I'm giving them their moment. I'm giving them their moment, man. Seriously. So, TJ, do you expect to see more deep shots against Tampa? I think you do. The way that Tampa has been playing the Saints throughout the past has been a lot of routes that were set on, and it had a lot to do with Drew Brees' inability to get the ball down the field. You look at Tampa versus the Saints in 2021. You've seen when Trevor Siemian came in, the deep pass to Kevin White, greatest catch in Kevin White history. I didn't say Saints history, Kevin White history. It was, he got behind the defender. So I think that you have to give attention to that dynamic. I also think that Jameis is going to be up for this game. I know people are like, oh, he played him last year, but he didn't get a chance to finish. And I honestly feel like if he did finish, it probably would have been I don't think the game would have been as close as it was. Not the first game. And I think that he's motivated. He's going up against his former team. This is a team that felt like they needed to go in a different direction. And now he's playing for the Saints. So I think he's gonna want to finish. And not to mention his career, was, I won't say it was cut short, but he missed an entire season because of this team. So I think he's going to be up for the challenge. TJ, play that Dennis Allen walk again. Let's see if I still got that. Do I have that? Yes, I do. Oh man, I don't have the commentary from those other guys though. Glenn is the state of Louisiana. We all petty here, pretty much. Chopper Styles remix. Now I'm a mean the sound rude baby or hurting you nothing. Was up 26 to now we murking them or something. Oh man. I can't wait until 10:26 at 10:26 a.m. and 10:26 p.m. Boy, oh boy, you can't make this up. Falcons got 2 holidays. Oh man, yep, they definitely do. Devin White is a dirty player. Yeah, I don't even want to get on that. Hey TJ, don't know how much about Pat Willis' son Trey. Is he any good? Or he's just in the building from his dad being a Saint legend? I think it has something to do with both. I think he showed some really good upside at Georgia Tech. But I do think that being the son of a legendary lineman for the Saints, I think that doesn't hurt. But I think that his ability got him there. Okay, it's I don't think it's a nepotism thing going on right now, but they will see. I mean, it's not like, he about to start or anything like that. And that push going to shove, at worst, you'll probably end up being on special teams one day, or maybe not even making a team. This is just a guy that got signed to the practice squad for bodies. I've seen plenty of Katrina jokes from all the other fan bases in our division. I don't want to hear about being too petty when people are using that type of stuff as a joke. I agree. I feel like it's a slap in the face when you start talking about stuff like that. You're getting way too personal. This is a football game. None of us are getting paid, out there on the field. We just have a lot of love and passion for that. And we need to know where it ends and where it begins. And when you start talking about situations like individuals losing their homes, individuals losing their lives, their livelihoods, that's a low blow, right? When you start talking about individuals like that, I can't get down with that. I can't get down with that. I have no respect for that. But those that, talk about the Saints and be like, y'all the Aints, I ain't got no problem with that, right? It's like calling the Bucks the Sucks, or, Tampa, Atlanta, the Falcons or something like that. I mean, Carolina, we do those things. But when you start talking about different situations like that, I can't get down with you. I'm gonna let you have the last word. I don't like those type of confrontations. No way. TJ, let me see. You get a chance to go back to that podcast since the game because they kept hollering, come back, come back. I'm gonna tell you this. I don't know if this was live or not, but we were supposed to meet after the game, take a picture together, right? I guess my invite got lost or something, or maybe somebody didn't know how to contact me, but I didn't get that. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was a mix-up. Maybe they were just so emotional because they lost. I don't know. I don't know. But if they asked me to come back, I would. But it wouldn't surprise me if, let's just say, for example, if the Saints were to lose to the Falcons in the Superdome in a couple weeks, I guarantee you they'll probably want me back then. And I don't know. I didn't get any feedback. I didn't get like, oh, good game, we almost had y'all, or anything like that. So You know, I mean, you know how it go. You know how it goes. Like some people, they watch the State of the Saints podcast and they ask me to come on the show, especially a division. You know what I'm saying? A divisional team. They ask me to come on the show, and I probably talk to like one person. Then when I get there, they be like 3 and 4 people up in there. You know, and I'm like, okay, you know, I don't know if they feel like, because some people feel like if you got enough people in there, it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like we probably can, you know, bombard him or whatever like that, or we can probably like get him off his, you know what I'm saying, off his spot. Like, I don't know. But me, look, I don't argue about, oh man, look at them dumb colors, the red and black. Man, what y'all talking about? Atlanta, man. Like, bro, I ain't gonna talk about your home. I ain't gonna talk about the colors of the uniform. I ain't gonna talk about none of those things. I'm gonna hit you with some cold, hard facts, and I'm gonna hit you with some things I know for a fact that you can't dispute. You know, that's just like when it came to AJ Terrell. I was like, man, I like AJ Terrell. I think that he's one of the best corners in the league. I even told him his Pro Football Focus go. And you know what they did? Yep, man. Yeah, he is pretty good. You know why? Because they were so confident that AJ Terrell was going to come in and lock up Michael Thomas throughout the entire game. And what happened? You know, he ended up getting 2 touchdowns late in the game on AJ Terrell. So what can you say then? Right? You can't say something was wrong with AJ Terrell because we already established the fact that, according to Pro Football Focus, he's ranked number 2 last year coming into this season in man coverage, and he didn't allow a single touchdown last season. So what did that tell you right there? So I am going to give you the facts, and even if that means that it tells me that your team has an advantage over a player, or should have an advantage over a player that is on the team that I like, which is the Saints. But that's what people don't do. Like when they have, this is another little nugget for any podcast out there that get opportunity to have an invite on somebody's show. Always come through with the research. Okay, let's not talk about the colors of a team uniform or this guy hurt, he limping. I seen him the other day. He ain't gonna be able to play. Like all that kind of stuff is lazy commentary. You can add that kind of stuff to it, but make sure that you're adding some research to and stuff that they can't dispute. That's what I do. So I don't care if it's 5-on-1, 3-on-1, 21-on-1. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. You know, like I'm gonna be prepared. And I'm not gonna just sit up there and talk about uniforms and communities because that's low-hanging fruit. I'm gonna talk about things that I know for a fact that you can't dispute. And we're going to talk about it. And if I go on a show like my guys up Broad Street South, you know, podcast, the Philadelphia Youth podcast, every time I go on there, you know what I'm saying? Like I have a good time. They love their Eagles, but it's never like a hit job, right? It's us talking about the team, us talking about their keys to victory, why they feel like they're going to win and feel like Saints are going to win. And it's all love. But, you know, a couple podcasts you go on seem like, you know, it's kind of like a hit job, but I always come out unscathed for the most part. We are the ain't losing to Atlanta, ain't feeling that lame second line y'all tried to do, ain't blowing a 26-10 or 28-3 lead. TJ, were you suppose when you went back home post Katrina and seen the gentrification of the city? No, I wasn't. I wasn't. You know, that just kind of happens, man. That happens. You know, I don't really know what to say about that. I don't really know what to say. I just think that at that particular area, as they start to rebuild, you start to see, as I get to tragic in just a second, you start to see like movies and TV shows, like NCIS was down there, right? You start to see like different shows come down there, Queen of the South. So it got like a little Hollywood push. And also not to mention one of my favorite movies, Deja Vu with Denzel Washington was filmed out there. So I think that actually brought a lot of the actors and actors to New Orleans. Like when Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were there, you know, they talk about how they able to travel when they stayed in the Garden District and nobody really bothered them. I often tell this story. I went to one of my old houses that I used to stay like in old neighborhoods, I should say. And I seen actress Marissa Tomei staying down there on Feliciana. I mean, some of y'all probably know Marissa Tomei. She was on the season 1 of Different World. She also played on a very popular movie called My Cousin Vinny with Joe Pesci. Yeah. So I guess it just happens. It just happens, man. TJ, you right, homie. It was 4 against 1 on that podcast, and I was like, well, it's nothing TJ can't handle, especially being from our city to 9. Yeah. I mean, look, I don't care, man. I'm gonna be prepared. And it was like, when and like I said, man, I like the podcast. I would definitely go back. I like the energy. I like the fact that they stood for what they believed in, even though so some of the takes end up looking ridiculous in the end. But like playing stuff like Lil Wayne and not being a Saints fan, and who cares? Like, I'm not Lil Wayne. Like, I'm not Lil Wayne. I got a lot of respect for him as a rapper. He's one of my favorite rappers, but don't mean that just because you're from the city don't mean that you have to have an undying allegiance to the team. That's just him. That's not TJ Jones. So I didn't understand. And also, I was honest. I'm like, there weren't a lot of people, that was just repping the Saints hard like that. But you had individuals that was doing that and that was willing to go hard for the team, good, bad, or indifferent. But, in anything, you want to stand by a product that works. Some people are not going to be investing their hard-earned money, going to a game, and watching a team take a L all the time. We ain't got to, like, let's just, man, y'all know, some of y'all from the city, majority of y'all from the city. Like, we were just trying to make ends meet. We seen mama and daddy, extending that light in that phone bill, right? We heard the conversations like the phone gonna have to stay off, for a couple of days until my check come, so until I get paid, get my paycheck. Like we had these conversations. So where can you find time to go to a Saints game? There's more important things going on in their life, but of course, you got a television, you got a radio. So I don't think that you can look at that particular situation in the 90s and just be like, oh, y'all weren't real Saints fans, because you had real Saints fans. The team was just losing, and like, you're not gonna take your hard-earned money and you got to pay your lights, got to pay your rent to go to no Saints game, right? Especially if you know for a fact that more than likely they was gonna take that L. I'd rather watch it on TV or I'd rather listen to it on the radio. That's just the way that it works. I don't think that it had anything to do with the fact that you didn't love the team. I mean, you just had priorities at the time. Dallas can send us the top 10 picks next year and Michael Parsons, and we'll be good. Well, they're not getting rid of Michael Parsons. That's just not happening. I can see them getting rid of a top pick, but Michael Parsons isn't going anywhere. That's a cornerstone player right there. I think he's really talented. Wayne's dad or stepdad was a huge Packer fan when he was growing up. He spoke about it multiple times. Poor me, can't see the games, no cable cord cutter. Don't let the Falcons choke and distract you from the fact that LSU made Southern look like a high school team. I hope that money was worth those boys' confidence and integrity. Exactly. Coach Prime Deion Sanders was talking about that. He said it ain't a price you can put on, putting those guys out there, killing those guys' morale. And some people look at it like they'll say well, Jackson State, they ain't going out here play. Why would they? You ain't come on. As much improved as Jackson State is, they ain't beating Alabama. They ain't beating Tulane. They definitely ain't beating LSU. So why even put yourself out there for a check? Nah. Sean Hockley crew for the game on Sunday, folks. Is Jim me or has he been on every Saints versus Bucks game? It sure seems like it. Well, if he is, then we need to keep him over there because those games be pretty clean. I don't really see flags flying all over the place. So I would roll with Hockley. I would roll with him. Even when the Saints were losing, they still were among the league's leaders in fan attendance. Yeah. But like I said, you had a man. I'm talking about. Look, I'm from the 9th Ward. People were poor. You know what I'm saying? They weren't poor. They were poor, right? Like you was making life decisions. Like, should do I go to this corner store and pay this electric bill, or do I walk to the back and get a couple slices of luncheon meat? You know what I'm saying? So I can eat for the next couple of days. That was the kind of stuff that we were going through when I was growing up. Like, I had a great childhood. Don't get me wrong. And as far as family and love, I was rich, but we were poor. So you didn't have the opportunities to go to the Saints game. If somebody had some Saints tickets, like, shouts out to Coach Charles Alexander, my mentor as a kid. I went to my first game in the Superdome, Tulane Green Wave, when they were playing in the Superdome, when they went on that magical run, right? When they won Conference USA, when Sean King was the quarterback. That was one of the first times I ever went to a football game. I can remember him working with the RTA, and we used to go to Colton Middle School. And we used to go out there and we'll catch the bus, the St. Claude bus, walk to Colton. Then, the RTA bus will be there and they'll bring us straight to the Superdome. My first Saints game ever was because of Coach Charles Alexander. It was the playoff game. It was the playoff game. Was the Saints versus the Rams, right? Akeem dropped the ball. Y'all remember that? The first Saints playoff win. I was in attendance at 13. And shouts out to my Uncle Jerry. He went to the game with me. And it was because of Coach Charles Alexander. I sat in a luxury box, and I can remember eating chicken tenders. I was eating, man, these was the best. I still remember how good those chicken tenders were to this day. But I had those opportunities because of Coach Charles Alexander. If Coach Charles wasn't in my life, I probably wouldn't have had those opportunities to go to the game like that. So I was fortunate enough to do that. But growing up, we love the Saints, but going to a Saints game was in the back of your mind. We had season tickets, and I remember the crowd getting 2 penalties called for being too loud when Jim Everett quarterback for the Rams. I also was at the Rams playoff game. Man, how long that was ago when you getting penalties for being too loud? I have never been to the Superdome or a Saints game, but one day I may perform there. Remember this comment. Well, yeah, keep that optimism, man. One day you will get there. I'm not saying you might. You will get there. You claim it just like you did right there, and I guarantee you it's going to happen, My cousin was on that Tulane squad, ended up playing for the Seahawks. Yeah, that was a really good football team. And we'll end it with Keen Arthur says, don't want to go this route, TJ, but FEMA paid our residents to stay away post-Katrina due to the crime rate and them trying to make NOLA a resort area. When people came back, they took the money back. Yeah. Yeah, there was definitely conditions when you got that. They would prefer for you to move to other areas of Louisiana. They actually gave you more money to move outside the city. But yeah, there was a level of discrimination about that. They would probably tell you, oh, we just don't want them to go back to those areas where it's more susceptible to flooding, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, we can't end on such a somber note. Somebody give me something. First of all, the Saints are Louisiana, Mississippi Gulf Coast team. People from Mobile and Pensacola to come to the Saints game. Yeah, look, I think the whole Gulf Coast. I think they probably gonna end up being fans. Mobile, yeah, I think they Saints fans. I really do. So they don't just belong to the state of Louisiana or Mississippi. I think they belong to certain areas in Alabama too, right? Even certain parts of Texas. You go past Shreveport, right? I mean, you hit the Texas state line, but you might have some Saints fans in Marshall, Texas, right? That first city that you hit when you cross over to the Texas state line. So I think you might have some Saints fans over there too. I just have a question. Want to know why they wasn't really blocking for Winston in the first quarter. Myra, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know, Myra. I wish I can answer that question. Rust. I don't know. Bad matchups. But hopefully they'll be able to correct some of these mistakes that they made, and we can see some better football. We can see some better football. Final thoughts on Alvin Kamara's injury. Yeah, that's a good place to end. Final thoughts would be Alvin Kamara is a wait and see thing. For those that probably just tuned in, he's dealing with a rib injury. Coach Dennis Allen said he'll be fine. Don't know exactly what that means. We know they don't disclose injuries. But I'm still confident that the Saints will be able to have a running attack if Alvin Kamara was to miss this game. I think that you have to be smart about this. I don't think that you need to rush Alvin back if he has to sit out. You have a lot of talented players around this team offensively now, so you don't have to force Alvin to come back. He can actually take his time. I think they should be fine. We'll see. Practice is tomorrow. Of course, they have the injury reports that's going to come out, so we'll see if he practices or not. And, we'll see leading up to the game. But if he doesn't play, the Saints got to make sure that they make up for his absence, because we all know how special number 41 is. But thank you for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it. I ask that you hit the like button before you leave. Hit that like button. Hit that subscription button if you have not already. Also, you can join the Facebook page, facebook.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. You can also follow me on Twitter at TJJones8. That's TJAY Jones8. Have a good morning, noon, night, whenever you're checking out this podcast. Like always, all I got to say is, who dat?